All right, good evening and welcome to the October 14th, 2025 Zoning Board of Appeals regular monthly meeting for the Village of Ossining. This is a public hearing that is quasi judicial. We're using a hybrid format for today's meeting with the public invited to attend either in person or online via Zoom. We do have a few people on Zoom. Members of the public attending online may use the raise hand feature at the appropriate time. If you'd like to make a comment, this should be at the bottom of your screen. Those attending by phone can press *9 and that will function as the raise hand. They'll see you and they will unmute you when it's time. Comments during the meeting, even if you're sitting here in person, can be emailed at any time to plan@villageofaustining.gov. Plan@villageofaustining.gov. The meeting will be recorded and a transcript of the meeting will be available at a later date. So 2 ground rules. When you come up to speak, please state your name and address and make sure you're signed in. I saw some people signing in, so thank you for that. And please limit your comments to the matter, which is the subject of the hearing. I'll get more in depth on that if we start going off the rails. So today we're joined by Maddie Zahat, our assistant village manager. Joe is here, our village inspector. We've got
Can you stop for 1 second?
yes.
You sound like you're underwater apparently, so we're gonna try something. Thank you, Tom.
That would be the noise removal default. So if you click that and click to original.
Okay.
Jamie, does that help?
No.
No, great.
You sound like SpongeBob.
Because we offered the public to attend online or in person, we, by law, have to have recording online so that those participants can actively participate. So we're on 2 plus.
Joe, are you?
That's actually better. I can hear much better. Before it was garbled.
Okay, great.
All right, we can hear you. Yay, we can hear
Well,
Joe.
our message at the top is standard, so I'm not going to repeat that. What I will say is we got Maddie Zahat, the assistant village manager. We have the members of the board. We have Taryn Ramey, who is the assistant land use counsel, Joe Agostinelli, village inspector. Jamie Kane is the board secretary, also works in the planning department. And with that, could we get a roll call on the board, please?
Sure can. Chris Asensio.
Here.
Michael Spall. Brian Grana.
Here.
Erica Matias. Here. Corey Black. Here. And Shara Aberza.
Here, I believe. So we're going to start with, we have everyone here. For those that were not here or not voting last month, you cannot vote on the approval of the minutes, just put that out there. So could I get a motion to approve all of this as they were distributed?
Motion to approve the minutes, Brian.
Seconded, Corey.
All right, and if there are no objections using unanimous consent. That's our approval from last month's meeting. Thank you so much. All right, on to new business. The first up is ZBA 17-2025. This is for 32 Campwoods Road. Applicant is seeking a variance for fence height that exceeds 3 feet. So whoever's coming up first, the applicant, who's representing the applicant to speak on this. The one thing I want to preface with is we received all the written communications that were sent in via email, etc. We have read them. So to help everybody with time and brevity, please only present new information because we're already taking that into consideration.
Chair, just before we get started, I see we have 6 folks at the table tonight and we can only have 5 voting. So do you want to determine?
Who you got to vote? You were here last month?
Yeah.
You were here? Chris, we're gonna swap out for you tonight. Yeah, of course. You're important. We're gonna do a sharing is caring methodology. All right, whenever you're ready.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Manuela Fernandez, and I live at 72 Campus Road. And adding to what you already saw in our presentation and application, we are here to ask for help to keep that fence up. And sharing that fence being up for the last few months already guaranteed our security and some peace of mind going in and out of the house. We are been exposed to our next door neighbor, Mr. Rogers, who has been harassing and viciously calling me dead names and derogatory dead names while I'm getting out of the house, holding my son's hand. And for the countless times that I am ready to pull into my driveway and I see my neighbor outside and I have to go around the block to make sure when I turn in again, he's not there. So I protect myself from the derogatory names of my neighbor calling me pork chop. As you probably know, that is the derogatory name that some used to call Portuguese people, to call me Panchita, and to call me Fatso. So many other names that he calls me. When I ask, why are you doing this to me? And why are you doing this to family? He says, English, English. You don't belong here, go back to your country. So that's the reason that we are here today. And that fence has shown already some peace. And I've been able to go in and out of my house without being looking out if there is any threat there. And for that reason, I thank you so much for considering to keep that fence up. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm really sorry that you're dealing with that.
Yeah.
What we're looking at today, I believe, if we can pull the plans up for the board's reference, we have a meeting each month beforehand with the full-time staff, and we spoke with Joe, who's familiar with this property. That fence that's along the property line is as of right up until a certain point, and that's all we're discussing is the fence past that certain point. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can have up to 6.5 feet on the side yard. The side yard would be if you took the front facade of the building of the house and made a line from side yard property line to the side yard property line, from that point to the back would be your side yard. The front yard starts right at that front facade of the building to the front. So they're exceeding the 3-foot height in the front yard by only a small section on the side there, maybe 1 or 2 panels.
Great. Thank you so much, Joe, for the clarification. We'll have time for public hearing. I think we're good for that in terms of the explanation. There was a lot of information in the packet. It's all public, it's all online. It's for the members of the public to see. Does anybody from the board have questions?
Yeah, just for the record, if we go back to the pictures of the 2 homes, that would help. Just want to make sure for the record that your home is on the one on the right,
On the left, sir.
on the left. Okay, those. And the white fence, was that already there already?
Yes,
Was there already, and who built that? Your family or so forth, the next door
my
neighbor?
neighbors.
The neighbors, and I'm very sorry for what you're dealing with.
Thank you, sir.
One thing that I have to say, for the record, this doesn't in any way indicate how we're gonna vote, but any variances that are granted for a property live with the property regardless of who lives there. So even if you moved out next month and someone else moved in, they would still have the variance unless they made some major change. So for our considerations, most of what we're discussing is whether or not it sets a precedent, how it fits into the character of the neighborhood, all of those things. So just if you hear us discussing them, I don't want you to think we're ignoring what you presented. It's just, there's other considerations as well.
Just for the benefit of the board as well, I'm not sure if you saw, but this afternoon, the applicant had submitted a petition in support from a bunch of neighbors. About 20 or so neighbors signed in support of this application, in addition to the letters already submitted, just in case you didn't already see that.
No, I didn't either, not today.
So I'm gonna bring it up.
Yeah, I'll just pull it up just so we can make sure everyone sees that.
For a while. We have been giving decisions for over years. We used to live on Greenbelt Avenue. And 8 years ago, we moved to 32 Campus Room. So we have been living in the neighborhood for 23, more than 23 years.
So there's a number of people in the neighborhood that say in support of the application.
For our board, before we open the public hearing, does anybody have any other questions? Okay, I think right now, if you want to just take a seat, you're not standing, but you'll be free to come back up if you need to. If I could get a motion to open the public hearing,
First, open the public hearing, Brian. Seconded, Mike.
we have Brian and Mike, and if there are no objections to opening the public hearing is now open. Is there anybody other than the applicant here to speak, who did not submit a letter or sign support? All right, is there anybody online for this application? And just as a reminder, you'll use the raise hand feature, which is on the bottom, or I see one person calling in, you'll dial *9, and that will show a hand face, for us to be able to bring you in. All right, seeing none, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close, Cory.
Seconded, Brian.
Corey and then Brian, if there are no objections to closing the public hearing. Public hearing is now closed. Could we run through the 5 factors, please?
Oh, wait, Brian, can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
I was wondering, I'm sure, Joe, you've been out there. How are the sight lines with that?
Oh, for like driving.
Yeah,
It's good. I mean, they're not on a corner. They're somewhere in the middle of the block, so it's not really an issue for sightline.
pulling in and out of those 2 driveways, you know. But I think it is back far enough. I just wanted to hear your opinion.
I think that front panel complies with the height requirements. It's just a couple.
Yeah,
accurate.
The front panel is 3 feet high, which is what you're supposed to have in the front yard. I mean, I don't think it hinders any sight coming out of the driveway, to be honest with you.
And also, I want to say, I'll say that during the 5 factors, but
I don't know if this is just overstepping, but I just can't help but ask about like the color, like the back is white, the front is not painted. So like, I don't know if this is not our area, but to me, it looks like it's like standing out. Like, will that be painted white to match the back?
I mean, I think it's a fair question, but it doesn't go to the area, the variance itself. So it's not technically our jurisdiction, but it is good. It's a good question.
I believe that white fence is the neighbor installed that fence, and the natural color wood fence is the applicant that's here today.
So all good.
Yeah, I mean. Understand the play, and I'm glad that they left the 3-foot section in the front for sight lines, because it's hard to go from a 4-foot or a 3-foot to a 6-foot fence when normally in front yards we only go up to 4 feet.
And I was gonna say it in the 5 factors, but I was a huge question asker about our previous fence dialogue, and I kind of wanted to differentiate this property from that property, where that fence was running along the road. We had something on the other side to compare it to. In this case, it's running along the property line, mostly as of right, except for the front 6-foot sections. So it's a little bit different. I just wanted to state for the record that the reason the decision-making might differ for me is because there are 2 different types of properties, 2 different situations. Anybody else?
I agree completely.
All right, let's do it.
So as the board knows, in determining whether or not to grant the applicant's request for area variance, the board must balance the benefit to the applicant against any detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the community by granting the variance. And in doing so, the board must consider 5 factors. The first factor being whether an undesirable change in the producing character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby property will be created by granting the variance.
There would be any detriment to any nearby properties, especially if you determine that it's not an issue pulling in or out of the driveway, it's not impeding sightlines. It's slightly out of character, but at the same time, everybody has fences and it looks like everybody else has fences, so.
They've only added on the unpainted wood fence to the front of the property. And the neighbor already had the same height fence in the rear. So. it's
Well,
not like
they can
we-
do it as of right so far. It's
Yeah.
just more about, if the fence were 6 feet coming toward the road, you wouldn't be able to see pulling out and then.
But I agree.
The benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variance.
For this one, I have to say yes, because even though the fence was built prior to receiving the variance, there is technically an option by area to remove the second or the first 6-foot fence pulling it down to 4 feet. However, I would argue about feasibility.
The height requirement.
Yeah,
I think the board to consider the benefit here is specifically a privacy fence. So it's whether the 3-foot fence in the front yard would specifically provide that benefit being sought.
Yeah, I don't think there's any other way for them to achieve the privacy. Anything lower wouldn't achieve that, so.
It does look like there's grass. Oh, that's on their side. The grass is where the neighbor is.
yes.
So they can't plant trees. I was gonna say they could plant trees, but they can't because it's cement. Okay, so there is no.
It's like fresh, fresh stone.
But with the driveway as well.
Mhm, exactly.
And whether the requested variance is substantial.
I don't think it's impact or numerically significant. I have to look at the zoning board worksheet, but I'm pretty sure.
3 to 6 is doubling the height, so I mean,
So numeric,
numerically significant, but
Well, I was considering how much of it, it's allowed to be 6 feet up to a point. I was considering what that.
you don't consider that. If it's allowed 6 feet, we're only considering what is there and it's only allowed to be 3 feet,
True.
so,
50%.
yeah.
that goes towards the impact. It's a very small segment of the fence in the front yard, so you have the sight lines.
Yeah. It looks like the same height as the, the fence that butts.
And it's got its little caps on top, just like the other one.
Whether the variance could have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district.
No.
And then finally, whether the immediate difficulty was self-created, in which consideration is relevant to the board's decision, but not necessarily dispositive.
Yes, they did it without a variance, but they didn't create the issue that they need the fence for, so.
I agree. So based on our question and answer for the 5 factors, it seems like we're leaning towards an approval. So if I get a motion to approve ZBA 17/2025.
Motion to approve, Brian.
Seconded by
Brian and then Mike. And can we do a roll call vote, please?
Sure can. Brian Crandall.
Aye.
Michael Small.
aye.
Eric Matias.
You're
Oh, no, it's Chris. Okay, I got it. Chris Asensio.
Aye.
Corey Block. Aye. And Sharon Lewis.
Aye. All right, well, the fence is already it's already built prior to receiving the variance. What would normally happen and what will still happen in this case is you'll receive the resolution, you'll receive the communication from the planning department directly. Takes a couple weeks normally. But you're good to go. Approved. Have a good night.
Thank you.
And Boris, all the best. Hopefully it works.
Good luck.
Good night.
And next, have a good night, guys. Next up on the agenda is ZBA 21/2025. This is for 2 Church Street. Applicant is seeking a variance for the number of freestanding signs proposed for the installation. Hi there.
Hi, my name is Michelle Delay. I'm, our mailing address is 165 Main Street.
Yeah.
This is regarding to Church Street, so,
You signed it, right?
and I said,
Okay, great, thank you.
so Open Door is currently the existing clinic or medical facility that is at 165, and Open Door purchased 2 Church Street. And I don't want to go over everything that's in the application. If I'm missing something, please let me know. But, because we now have 2 buildings, it's important for wayfinding for patients to know which building to go into for the services that they're seeking, because they're going to have different services in each building. So, because we have a sign with the logo for the entrance to the parking lot, and because the building has 2 entrances, we're proposing 2 monument signs that contain wayfinding directory information about what's in the building. And then the little map at the bottom is sort of orienting people as to which one they're in and where they can go. And so we propose 1 sign underneath the drive-through canopy, so that when you get out of the car, you park your car in the lot and go to the door, you can say, oh, I'm in the right building, or I'm on the right, I need to go to a different floor. Well, actually, when you get in the building, you know if you're on the right floor, but you can see it says 2 Church or 165 Main. And then, so that's underneath the canopy, and then the other one, and I think the plan will show you, so the top of the plan is off the parking lot, the little red dot is under the canopy, so, as you approach the door, you can see if you're on the right building. And then the other one is onto Church Street, right by the entrance, which is in a similar location to where there was previously a monument sign, but it was a commercial office building. So, if you want to scroll,
Maddie, what district is this?
I think Village Commercial,
Yeah.
Hey, VC.
DC.
yeah.
It's in the village center.
The reason I was
The
asking that
VC
was for two
district.
reasons. I think the only person who may have been on board at the same time as me at that time was Mike, where we had a double sign, actually, there's like 3 different signs at a
Yeah.
housing complex. Got approved, different situation.
Oh, that was my old house.
Oh, was it?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I found.
That
So-
came-
This is the one that's in front of the main entrance essentially, and this one is proposed to be in a, what's now, what's a planted area that was left there for the future sign to be added to the plantings. So that when if you go to 165 and you cross this, you cross the street, you can see right away at the entrance of the building and what's offered in that building. If you're walking up and down Church Street, you can make sure you're going into the right building at Church Street versus going across to 165 Main. So that's the point. And the colors and the design match the signage that was already permanent and installed on the site.
So if I'm standing on Main Street and looking towards the building, am I seeing a sign that is even with the entrance to the front of the building?
It's-
Or is it mounted on the wall or
No,
higher?
there was you can see the planted area.
Mhm.
Is it helpful if I bring it up on,
I don't know, let's see.
because I don't know if there's something else in the.
The planted area was visible in one of those, okay, so that, if you look at that, that's the drive-through under, it's now finished.
Right,
And so right before the door, there's going to be monument sign mounted right on the ground there. And then
okay,
the other one, I think there's another picture, that's again the parking lot, but at the top,
Mhm.
at the top of that, there should be a photograph of the front. See that?
Oh,
Yeah,
the mini
can you
van.
enlarge that? I think, holy pixels, that doesn't exactly show you the planted area, but,
Do you want me to go to the?
well, okay, so
Could you
that's
orient
very
us here?
helpful.
right.
Yes, you go down the street. I don't think this shows the addition.
No, this is, I mean, it's older,
So
it's
you
just
see
you can
where the
orient
old
us.
monument sign is?
Yeah,
You now have an addition in that courtyard, and
gotcha.
the monument sign is, the new one is a little bit to the right, just before the new addition. And there is a photograph, I think that shows that, isn't it a photograph? Oh wait, just, can you go back? See that thing on the right, the picture on the right, that's the square that currently has, grasses in it, that would have a sign in it, and the building is right.
So these signs really are not to have the person identify that they're at 2 Church Street. These signs are really to identify what facilities or what rooms they should be going to.
They're monument signs for wayfinding and
Wait,
for,
okay.
helping you understand which building you should be in.
That's another-
All the identification of the buildings already in place.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, you mentioned that it matches what's already there.
Mhm.
Well, what was approved and permitted and what we installed as part of the project. And I think you can see some of it on those photographs.
I guess I'm just wondering how many,
Well,
you know.
do you see where it says to church?
Mhm.
And then on the right, it says our logo and
Okay.
indoor carrying out.
Oh.
That's it.
Got it, thank you.
And there's a, one last question, is the issues with regard to whether these signs will be lit at nighttime?
They're not.
They're not, okay, fine.
I don't have questions. I'll have comments during the 5 factors, but this is in some ways, even though it's a different district, the conversation is similar to what we did before, where the complex was adding 2 additional signs instead of their 1 permitted. Because it was the way the property was laid out, and the additional sign was a wayfinding sign, smaller, for the management office on the property. I believe it was the management office.
Sure, no, there were 3 big ones
Yeah.
for the,
There were multiple
Addresses.
references that needed to.
yeah,
Yeah.
for all entrances, they did.
So to me, he's seen within the scope of norm in keeping with the character of the neighborhood, but that's just my opinion. So I don't have any questions. Anybody? Don't let my lack of questions. All right.
No, clear. And also, seeing the older photos of the precedents, like what was there in terms of identifying the bill right here to the single building before we did the expansion. There.
I'm glad your corner is almost open. That's what I'm excited about.
It is open. You can sit there.
Oh,
looks amazing.
yes.
Yeah.
Coffee date?
Yeah.
It's available.
It's a great
anytime.
place to sit and see the beautiful downtown.
Yeah.
Right, it's really nice. I don't know if you're walking on the aqueduct or biking, it's really nice.
Don't forget to stop at that crosswalk there, because, that crosswalk has got a lot more traffic on it.
Yes. So,
You don't want to put on a rat hole.
can I get a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion to open the public hearing, Brian.
Motion second, Chris.
We got Brian and then Chris. I always say that just so they know that if there's no objections to opening the public hearing. Public hearing is now open. Is there anybody here to speak, online or in person for this application? None in the house. Aiden,
Aiden was our, designer vendor. Site
unless he has
design.
new information, I don't.
No, he's just here in case there were any questions about installation or something like that.
So Aiden, I don't think we have questions right now. You're more than happy to speak if you need to, but
All
there we
right.
go. That was the sign. All right, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close, Cory.
Seconded, Brian.
Corey and then Brian, without objection, the public hearing is closed. All right, can we go through the 5 factors, please?
So the first factor is whether an undesirable change is produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties will be created by granting the variance.
I'm gonna say no, it's actually an improvement upon what was there before.
I think wayfinding will be a positive thing.
Yes.
And it's a very typical thing to do for a building of this sort, which is providing those services.
It doesn't seem out of scope of, it's not like a giant sign.
And whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variance.
I mean, technically, yes, but I don't think it's determinative because you could do, they're looking at general wayfinding, not just the building, but where they go in that complex, so.
Yeah, I mean, you could do something inside, but then you're wandering around outside wondering if you're in the wrong spot, or right spot or not, so I think that you're in the right place.
Whether the variance is substantial.
Numerically not impact, it's 100%, it's an additional sign, but it's not determinative to me.
Room for wayfinding.
Yeah, the building's rather large, so it needs multiple signs.
Whether the variance would have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district.
Nope, it's not in the way, and in fact, if people can see it and may find easier, maybe they won't get stuck on the sidewalk or craning their neck while they're driving, trying to find out where they're going.
And finally, whether the alleged difficulty was self-created.
No, I think due to the size of the building and the multiple entrances, it's almost a necessity.
I had no answer, so I'm gonna take that. All right, it seems like we're leaning towards an approval. Can I get a motion to approve ZBA 21-2025?
Motion to approve, Chris.
Seconded, Brian.
Chris and then Brian. All right, can we do a roll call vote, please?
Chris Asensio,
Yes.
Michael Schwartz, Brian Brown,
Aye.
Cory Block,
Aye.
and Jared Edwards.
Yes. All right.
Awesome.
Approved.
Thank you.
You probably know this, you're a professional, but we're wait a couple weeks for the document. That's it.
Enjoy the fun.
Thank you.
Everybody to come and hang
It
out.
was a big discussion when it was here.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just a little bit going on, I want to point out, we've lost Joe, he's dealing with something at home right now that came up that was urgent, so to the degree that his help is needed on the next one, I will not be able to help you.
Okay. So, continuing business of the board, we have an applicant here for ZBA 14-2025, 194 Spring Street. Applicant is seeking an interpretation of zoning code section 270-39F.
Just for the benefit of the board procedurally, the board back in June voted to deny the variance request associated with this application. And it also voted to uphold the building inspector's interpretation of the code. However, the applicant wasn't present, so the board allowed them to come back with counsel to represent their arguments and review this application. So this is just for the interpretation, not the variance.
Microphone,
No microphone needed.
Project if you.
my name is Philip Grimaldi. I'm an attorney. My office is 245 Sawmill River Road in Hawthorne. I represent the applicant who's standing to my left. I had spoken to, Vladimir Levin, who was the architect who made a presentation. And he had basically told me, I didn't realize this, that the board had already made a decision. So what I'm here tonight to do is I would like to, be able to present, a written memo of law on why we feel that Mr. Alvarez is entitled, to use that basement. I don't have it tonight, but, I would like to present it before the next meeting. If you could just, because I didn't realize that a decision was already made. Mr. Levin told me that, and I didn't realize that.
So this will be the third exception we've made to what
Right.
our original intention was.
Right.
So we discussed in depth over 2 meetings.
Right.
The application, it was denied. We discussed in depth and made, but just let me finish and then you can rebuttal. We made in-depth comments on and then voted, but decided that we were going to extend a courtesy, because as of right, we were allowed to vote on it. The applicant didn't show up to that meeting. We talked about it. We decided we were going to allow them to come back. No one showed up to the next meeting, and now here we are at the third attempt. And now what I'm hearing is that you're asking us to do it again.
Well, it's just, that I was just retained on this, and again, I don't want to, if maybe we can work this out, if I could do a memo of laws addressed to the town attorney and the board, rather than go right to an Article 78, because I think there's what Mr. Levin said, I think holds a lot of weight. I think he's correct that there's a difference between an enlargement of a use and actually an enlargement of the building and an extension of the use. And so I didn't see your decision, so that's why I can't do anything. I can't say, well, this is why I don't agree with it. If I had that determination, then maybe I would come prepared with something, but I just met Mr. Alvarez last week and I spoke to Mr. Levin and I would just ask that courtesy, and I understand your position as well.
This is to capture it for the record.
Yeah.
That's it. So I appreciate the explanation. What I want to ask is, are we, even though this extension was a courtesy and we decided to hear it tonight, pending whatever discussion there is, can we ask that next month is the final month and a decision has to be made?
Absolutely.
Do we have to formalize that?
I think council understands the board's position.
And again, I don't know, I guess. I know you didn't do a written determination, but I guess there's something preliminary. I don't know if I could look at something, what the basis of the decision was.
Right, so if you go back, you can look at the June 10th zoning board meeting. It's recorded, you can watch it on YouTube. The minutes are also posted to the website. That'll give you, I think, a pretty good understanding of what was discussed. But it was really a discussion on Mr. Levin's memo that he submitted.
Right.
And I think the minutes are better than the transcript, because the transcript, I believe, is auto-generated.
Yeah, use the
So-
minute transcript.
Yeah,
So there are minutes posted of all.
Always.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, I didn't know that, I'm sorry, but, and when is the
we got
next,
a great staff. They're amazing, so they get things done.
when is the next meeting?
It is the second Tuesday of every month, so it's already pre-scheduled for whatever the second Tuesday of November is. That would be Veterans Day, the 11th.
You're gonna meet on that day?
They're not hanging out once.
Oh, really?
No, that's a holiday. Hang on 1 second, I will be.
I mean, I'm not gonna put a star.
November 18th.
6 years.
Council is correct, November 18th, so you actually get a bonus week.
Great.
And I believe the revision, the deadline to submit your memo of law will be October 30th by noon. And just the board will be proceeding to a vote at that next meeting.
Is there like you're the council, I guess, so you're moving it to, so who would I submit it to? Is there an email address, all the members? I don't.
So you can submit that directly to Jamie Kane at the Village Planning Department, and she'll make sure that it gets forwarded to all appropriate parties, and she'll also post it to the agenda.
Even if you sent it to the email I mentioned up top, I would consider that a
Yeah.
fair submission. It's plan at villageofboston.ny.gov.
If you go to the website, you'll have all the emails.
Okay.
And Mr. Grimaldi, I just want to emphasize, it probably goes without saying, but noon is the official deadline, so like.
I'll try to
plan
get it
have
before the
submitted
30th.
before then.
Yeah, I'll just say 10/29 is the deadline this week. It's no one. Okay,
I think it's a fair request. I didn't hear anybody on the board unless anybody has a.
No, I just agree, we can't drag it out any longer, so.
that's fine.
And just for historical reference, I'm not targeting this property specifically, we had passed, a rule that lined with the planning board where we had several cases that would drag on forever. That was causing court issues, et cetera, so we decided to treat everybody the same and hold them to that standard, so November will be the vote.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. So could we just get a motion to adjourn this? Do we have to open the public hearing? Okay. Actually, there's no other here, but nobody in person. All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn this application to next month's meeting?
Motion to adjourn to next month's meeting, Brian. Second, Chris.
Brian and Chris, if there are no objections, this is adjourned to the following month. And just to restate it for the record, I know that Taryn is rapidly typing over there. But we will vote at that meeting, whether applicant is present or not. Great. Oh my gosh, I'm staring at you guys. For 7 Lincoln Place, I was under the assumption that there's no new information.
They are going to be the next meeting as well.
Okay, whatever.
Let's move.
All right. Any last words from the board? Final thoughts? Cool. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn, Brian.
Seconded, Cory.
Brian and then Corey, if there are no objections, meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much.
Good night, Jamie. Thank you.
Good night.